Conservation Commission meeting of October 2nd, 2025. Call the meeting to order. Let's see, do we have a quorum? I think we do. All right.
Yeah, Mike, you, Mark,
Nicole. Welcome, Nicole.
Thanks.
I think this is your first meeting.
It is.
Well, I think, hopefully you'll find it an enjoyable experience. We'll see though. You can let us know at the end of the meeting. Okay, so the next item is approval of the minutes. This is September 4th meeting. Any comments, adjustments?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of
Okay,
September 4th.
September 4th, second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Public comment? Yes.
Good afternoon, Donna Vayu. Thank you for taking my question. At your last meeting, I was here and made an inquiry about the potential acquisition conversation that you're having with the owner on Lead Mine Road. That the DES and EPA have a watchful eye on, and you couldn't answer any questions because you were going on into non-public.
Right.
And my question is there anything that came out of that non-public that you could share with the residents of Madison?
I don't believe so.
Nothing?
Well, we had a discussion that involved about inquiries about various issues. I don't believe we got responses, so I don't think we made any real progress during that meeting.
So.
But it's still an open issue. There's no, we're not anywhere near making a decision at this point.
Okay, is it, can you just, is it a gift or a purchase or?
We haven't even talked about
Okay.
what.
You can't. share.
Well, there's no discussion about an acquisition at this point. It's a matter of fact-finding.
Okay.
So we haven't gotten to the point if there was an
Should we or
interest.
should we not?
If there was an interest, what the
I see.
mechanism would be. So
But
there's,
I trust you will share that with the Madison residents when you can?
yes, we certainly will.
Thank you, Ralph.
Okay. All right.
Ralph, I don't know where to speak about this. It's the bird boxes
Yeah.
that we put up in 2018, just for information. I went out and cleaned them out last week. They're all in very excellent shape.
Great.
All had evidence of nests. So they've been up for, 7 years and still going strong. This was a Cub Scout program we had with the scouts over in Tamworth. We bought the kits, they built them, we installed them, and they're still there going good. So,
Very good.
I'm pleased with that.
Very good. All right. Tim, any updates on your activities?
Yep, the timber harvest on Goodwin Burke is going very well. The timber payments have started coming in. I dropped one off at the town hall today. Quite pleased with the grading and scaling of the logs. The dead wood is not as dead as some of the stuff that we've been salvaging. And yeah, so that's going well. It's probably end of next week we'll be wrapping up. I would guess, if everything continues to go well. The weather has been just tremendous. I mean, the one day of rain we've had in the last 3 months barely even served to cut the dust down. The only thing that was, kind of a bit of a problem was when we moved the boulders on the landing further to the west to unload the equipment initially and turn the trucks around until we had the new landing constructed. For those couple of days at night, someone went in there and cut a whole bunch of donuts in the landing that when we come and when we have to do the closeout on the new landing, we'll have to run a piece of equipment down and flatten it back out so that we can mow it. They also went in and did a big donut in the brand new gravel in the new landing at the same time, and then up at the intersection of Lead Mine at the corner with Black Brook Road, was a bunch of donuts there.
Obviously somebody from Ospey.
Clearly. But anyway, that's really been the only thing that hasn't gone really well so far. We worked with the highway department to widen that corner coming up around there, and that's made a tremendous amount of difference. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the first check with respect to the payment was $6,444.18.
Yeah.
So that was just delivered today, so.
Yeah, I just dropped that off, and the oak is, like I said, I'm very pleased with how it's graded out. I mean, that's just the first of the payments. But, you know, looking at the scale slips and, you know, how it's graded, I'm quite pleased with it.
Where's it going, Tim?
Kennebec, which, interestingly enough, the end of the week before last, they announced that they're shutting down the old Chicorowa Valley lumber and not taking wood there anymore. So, as well as several of the other yards here in the southern part, because the contract is with the municipality and the timber tax has to be backed out of all the stumpage pricing, it's based on all of Kennebec's grading. So it's not quite as easy as just bringing it to another mill without having to come to the town and do an addendum to the contract. The logger was able to negotiate with Kennebec to be able to bring the rest of this job to their yard in Bethel, Maine. And so they have the same grading, and they talked him into giving them enough money to truck it up there to finish this job off with the same grading and pricing and contract as exists there, which I was quite pleased to see, because I didn't want to have to come to the Board of Selectmen and be like, well, that contract we had's no good, here's another one.
Okay, great. Next item is chain of pond, and there's been a lot of activity related to draft contract and really moving towards a closing. And the anticipated closing date is the end of October, which means that we have a series of things to deal with in order to position ourselves for the closing. A significant level of effort, I think, is going to be in Tim's court in terms of really examining the baseline report for one thing. And really, the way the contract refers to certain our monitoring activity is by way of reference. It's reference to documents such as the standard practices, and this is there's a whole series of issues related to stewardship and things of that nature. So those documents are very easy to look at. There's only a few items on each one of them. But by way of those being added, we now have to refer to those in terms of the easement. Drinking Water and Groundwater Trust Fund has significant issues in terms of what they have put into the agreement in terms of their requirements, and there's a reference to the groundwater issue with respect to the easement. So there's a whole series of issues related to those particular documents in terms of how we draft a conservation easement monitoring process. The way I read the agreements is that they require a easement monitoring plan. And that is essentially what I'm asking you to take the chair, really lead that particular issue. And in terms of that being a element of that's significant, it's not really clear in my mind that we need to have that particular document in place when we close. So, and we'll track that down as to whether that is a requirement or it isn't. So there's that particular issue with respect to, it is required over the term. Also, there is a budgetary issue. We need to estimate what the price tag is. So that's another issue in terms of the scope of what our involvement is.
I mean, we have as a line item in the, Conservation Commission's forestry budget, we have been doing and catching up on all of the property
Right.
monitoring and easement monitoring on various lands that the town owns and fee and holds easements on. And we've been through that cycle once, basically, and have accomplished all of the properties once in the last few years. We haven't done this year's yet, kind of waiting to see which ones you wanted to prioritize. So, I mean, it would really just be adding this property to that list of ones that we're doing periodically. This one would be an every year thing because it's, spelled out in the
Is
easement.
an annual requirement.
Yep. Obviously the first one in getting, for me, from my perspective, doing it, the first one would take a little bit more time than subsequent ones, because you're getting, the familiarity with the property, looking at, figuring out exactly where the hot spots would be to look for access issues or, just getting a hang of it, and then each successive year it goes quicker and easier. As you know it better, you can check up on it, it becomes readily apparent if things are happening, you know where to look for things. So, in terms of adding to the budget, I mean, during this period where we kind of have been catching up on the, I'm gonna call it delinquent for lack of a better word, but the monitoring that hadn't been getting done for many years. We had budgeted, a couple $1,000s a year, and you were doing like an à la carte, picking different properties.
At least 3 a year.
Yeah, and several more than that, and we had a couple of issues with some of the easements that we addressed that took more time than that. But we've more or less caught up on the backlog stuff. We've taken care of the boundary lines that we found to be in error. So, you probably, without adding a great deal to that budget line item, should be able to incorporate this new one into it and get that done every year and still have some room to à la carte pick some of the other properties that we're dealing with.
Well, it is a very large.
It is a very large property, and I'm willing to accept some of the burden of, familiarizing myself with it on my own time to streamline the process going forward. I'm not gonna charge you a whole bunch for that familiarization. The baseline documentation report is an incredibly helpful document because it really outlines existing conditions on the property. There's been a lot of mapping. That's an important document to go forward with.
Well, you need a copy of it, and we'll get it to you.
Yep.
You can take mine. And I will,
I have it.
you have an extra one?
I don't have an extra.
Do you have it digitally?
I can email it to you.
Yeah, that would be the best.
Okay.
And email it to them, because I don't get color pictures and everything, so.
Because for each of the properties that the town has either ownership or an interest in, that I'm doing this, I've compiled a digital file that I've got, deeds and baseline reports and all that stuff in for each of them, and then I put my monitoring report. So I mean, it's easy for me to just go to the folder of that property and I've got everything in it. So what I need to do is just start building one for this.
Well,
But yes, it is a fairly large property, but it has seen a tremendous amount of scrutiny and people looking at it for this purchase.
Right.
And a lot of that has been documented, so I mean, I have a lot to go on, a lot to go out into the field with initially. Upper Saco Valley is very good about sharing all that stuff back and forth. So it's almost as if the initial one has been done in amazing detail, and now it's just an annual follow-up on it.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to submit to DES.
Pardon?
That's the way to submit to DES too.
Right, but the first one's not due until January 27.
Right, right.
Right, so it does, my hope is that it doesn't affect the budget this year, that it really is an issue for next year.
Yep.
And so, yeah, if the timetable is January, we have an issue of winter conditions for your physical.
I typically try and do easement monitoring in the fall, right after leaf drop and before snow. Visibility is generally best.
Mhm.
The summer season has occurred, and, you know, frankly, it's a good time to wander around in the woods.
So I think
Deer season.
Yeah, or bird season, you know,
All right.
so.
Well, we'll deal with that too, but we do need a budgetary estimate for, actually, for our budget for next year. So if you come up.
For just this single one, or?
Well, would it add to our monitoring, your bill?
I thought you just said you didn't think it would the first.
I mean, you could say it might add $500 a year to the total forestry budget, and we can easily work within the other money that you've already been allocating every year for looking at these other properties. And even if that first year, you know, if we discover it's a little bit more, it's not like it's gonna be a $3,000 a year item. I mean, in a day's worth of time, you know, even a 600-700 acre piece, you can cover what you need to on that and figure out if there's been any encroachments, if there's been anything wrong, and get a quick report written up that'll satisfy the easement monitoring standards.
Okay.
So, you know, it's not a huge budget item, and it's something that you've been, you know, working with already.
The monitoring isn't in this budget, do we take it out of the forest account, is that where the
The
monitoring
forest
comes
account is
from?
what I'm talking about.
Right, so it's not something we're adding to the,
No,
gotcha.
No, but it would impact the warrant article to withdraw money from that fund.
Right,
right, exactly. All right, so you will have the baseline report.
Yep.
And by next meeting, do you think you could have a draft of the monitoring?
A draft of the monitoring.
They're looking for a plan for monitoring
Like
the
a
site.
written plan saying that every October, we go out, or late October, we go out there and spend a day in the field looking at it? I mean, what sort of a
Well,
plan
it's
are they looking? Do you know?
They want it for,
But-
Ralph has to sign a stewardship plan.
Right, but they drafted that.
Drinking water did,
Right.
but he has to answer question number 3. And question number 2.
Right, so basically, it says, describe who will be responsible for monitoring the land annually and submitting required annual stewardship report to DES. So this is, they're
Yep.
serious about, so we can't say we walk the property and everything's
Yeah, you can just say that,
hunky-dory.
you know, town forester, you know,
Well,
put my name on there.
Then the other item is describe how monitoring will be conducted annually, what methods will be used.
can we use our form that we have?
And
This is a form that they want.
And for
This is their
easements,
form.
contracting owners to inform them of their obligations under the easement also must be done annually. So it's a matter of, we have to deal with any butters and all sorts of things. So they're making a project out of this.
Would
Right.
you like me to just write something on letterhead that says I accept the responsibility of doing it?
They've already drafted that up. There's the question, and that's what they've
Question 2 and 3.
proposed for language.
Right,
Oh,
so
okay.
it's,
The
so
Madison
the,
Conservation Commission will monitor the chain of ponds property on foot on at least once annually in accordance with the regulations. Yeah,
and it's-
if that satisfies the drinking water people, I mean, that's a very simple description that at least once a year, the Madison Conservation Commission or their designated person will go out and monitor the property on foot.
Any questions?
okay, and
That'll
then,
do it.
Tim's
We
name?
investigated this.
Yeah, I mean, if it's as simple as that, yeah, you don't have to be specific about, you know, the procedures you're doing.
We'll put Tim in number 2.
Yeah, I think we should put in a parenthetical under number 2, then put Tim's name as our agent.
But if that changes, then we, or can we say that the designee, whoever the town designates, do we have to name a person?
I don't think anybody's gonna get that particular if we submit a form with our name on it. And
This has to be done tonight.
more likely than not, Tim would bring it in here and the chairman of this board would sign it upon his recommendation.
Right, but 20 years from now, if things moved on.
Well, we're gonna have somebody, we're gonna
Right,
have to have somebody.
That's why I say don't put a person's name there, say a town's designee.
But they obviously, I mean, they understand that this isn't in perpetuity.
Right,
They're all gonna be gone too.
Right.
well, I don't mean gone, I mean maybe Tim's
All right.
doing something else.
I hope not.
Just have it all there at the closing, that's all we ask, you know?
Right.
Because it's a one-shot deal.
Right,
Yeah, no, if that's as simple as they need, you know, and if you don't wanna put an actual name in there, just say, Madison Conservation Commission's town forester or land agent or something,
Yeah.
you know, invent a title.
Okay. Well, section 2 says who will be responsible, so we're responsible, but we'll engage a third party to do it.
Yep.
Yep,
It's simple as that.
Madison Conservation Commission's contracted agent or something like that.
right,
And that
exactly.
leaves plenty of
All right.
flexibility.
So I wanna make a motion that I execute this stewardship plan form.
I'll second that.
Need a second?
I seconded it.
Yep,
Okay.
got it.
All right,
Didn't I?
so I will execute this.
So now you need a vote.
Oh.
Vote, please. Yes, everybody?
And then you're gonna read that in
Oh, maybe this is simpler than I imagined.
It really is, it's all done. We just needed to vote and sign it.
there. Just go in there.
do we have a copy of that?
Yeah, it's attached to Linda Como's email of September 24th.
Thank you.
No, it's the one that has stewardship plan in the subject line.
Who's gonna, we just talked about that, conservation.
It's right behind the big packet with the preliminary conditions.
Yes, it should, 'cause it's all a bit confusing.
Gotcha, thank you.
Potential in the long run.
Thank you.
All right. So the issue is, give you the standards and practices and the land, this is the land trust
Yep. I
conservation.
do a few others for, the town of Guilford has some easements that have to meet these standards that I do
Okay.
monitoring on, so.
And by reference, the water issue has a indication, a stewardship plan that references how annual site inspections will be conducted and the individual responsible for submitting annual monitoring reports to New Hampshire DES that sort of satisfies ENV-W 1002.26/3. So they have a particular issue associated with the form. So I think you can really determine what you really need to do as a result of that background. So, if you would, let us know what your timing is for that. It sounds like you're gonna be pretty straightforward as to how that's prepared.
And I can give you something in writing that just explains, you know,
Right.
the rough time of year and how we do it, and that way you've got something that says, here's our plan to deal with it for the foreseeable future.
Okay. All right, let's see. The next item is a non-meeting with our attorney, because I'd like everybody to review the contract in detail.
Thank you all. This is a great relief to everyone.
So, as I said, there's a lot of changes, additions. Most of them, just about all of them are productive in terms of getting us to a point that we're in agreement. So I've suggested to Cordell that we have a meeting, and I suggested sometime next week at a time period past 4:30, so it makes it easier for certain people to show up. So he's indicated that Tuesday through Thursday is a good time period, good date for it. So I'm looking forward to hopefully getting most of you here to walk through the agreement. I'm not gonna attempt to
Have
do
we
it.
picked a date or just one of those dates?
It's one of those three. So I'm looking for who is the most availability.
So I cannot do Thursday.
What were the dates again?
Tuesday through Thursday of next week.
Tuesday through Thursday of next week?
Right.
6, 7, 8, or 9. 7, 8, or 9.
Mike, you said you can't do Thursday.
Thursday's the one day I cannot.
All right, how about
What time are we looking at?
4:30?
Either one?
Well, I have a commitment at 5 o'clock on Wednesday.
Okay, so that makes it Tuesday. Are we good for Tuesday?
And next Tuesday, there's no selectmen's meetings, so they met last week, this
It's
week.
the 7th.
Yeah, it should be good.
October 7th?
What time?
Friday's
4:30.
the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th is
Okay.
Monday, 7th is Tuesday.
So it's a meeting with the attorney, so there's no public access.
I won't come around.
It's a
non-meeting yet.
It's a non. All right. There are some interesting things. One of them is the snowmobile trails. Do you have that in your attachment? I think.
The email of October 1st, it's the first document.
Okay. This is. They have, the snowmobile people have indicated that there's a lot more trails that exist. And the issue I have on what they've submitted is really it's a license to go anywhere they want, basically. And they have a Chain of Ponds snowmobile use plan. And I think they've got a map that shows multiple trails.
Should not require the use because they don't just show it for the public on a public map.
So, what there's another, I think there's another one that shows multiple, trails. But essentially, take a look at that and see whether or not you can make any sense out of it in terms of what position we should take.
Does Upper Saco have a position, or we don't know yet?
Pardon me?
Does Upper Saco have a position on this, or do we not know
This is
yet?
what they're recommending.
This is Upper,
So, it's a lot different than one trail
yeah.
Yeah.
through the whole area.
Who approved the trails formally?
So, it's a matter of deciding what you'd like to do on that particular issue.
But I mean, as a landowner, they would be the ones deciding, what they want for trails. I think the easement would handle like issues with trails as they relate to wetlands, issues with trails as they relate to commercial activities. It's, you know, I mean, they, as a landowner, they're the ones deciding what sort of, you know, recreational impact. I mean, the easement document, in my mind, would be governing potential impact to things like wetlands. That's where your interest in it would be.
Well, it's a matter of, where we were was that there was only really one trail.
To me.
And that was on Scrub Oak's map. It indicated that that's the only trail that they were using. Now they've disclosed there's a multiplicity of trails that are informal. So whether or not we want to agree to that, I'm asking the question, I'm not taking a position
Well,
as to,
This looks like one, I mean, there's a couple spurs off it, but this looks like one trail. That's the only trail.
yeah, from north to south, or south to north, or whatever, but there are two, and it's hard to tell without,
There's like a cutoff there. and a-
without other landmarks
Yeah.
where
Well-
those offshoots go.
yeah, I couldn't make a determination, but it looked like there were more than one trail indicated. So it's a matter of, do we really want to get excited about that or not? So,
I don't, my concern from the review of the easement was making sure that they were identified in the existing conditions to the satisfaction of Upper Saco Valley for the reasons that Tim stated, so we knew what they were accepting, so that we, like he said, the only thing we have to worry about is the usage. Typically in the wintertime, you don't do a lot of damage.
I'm gonna be a hard no on it, cause the way the winters have been, there's not enough snow to protect the ground underneath anymore.
Is it a state trail or is it a local town
Yeah,
trail?
that's what, is it a recognized trail with the Bureau of Trails?
Not,
Well, the one,
the one main one on the railroad tracks is, the rest of
But I
them,
mean-
they're saying that there is not.
And ultimately, as a landowner, you know, I know on other properties that they have, you know,
You put
they
it-
have control if they don't feel the trail should be opened. It's not as if they're under any obligation to have that trail open. You know, we have, on my family's farm in Moultonborough, we have a significant portion of both state and town trail that runs through it. It's the main corridor to get between Lake Winnipesaukee and the castle. And the local club contacts us every year and asks if we're okay with it being open. Do we feel that, you know, there's enough snow cover? And we've, in years past, said, no, we feel like you need to wait until we get more snow. Upper Saco Valley has certainly handled it the same way in that, you know, they don't want their land damaged. They're not gonna allow use of the snowmobile trails if they're, you know, the water is open, things aren't frozen and snow covered.
okay.
Well, could you, just clarify, I'm a little confused. When you say trails, are these, recognized trails by the Bureau of Trails?
I don't know.
Or are they just,
There's snowmobile access.
well, they're recognized trails and then there are just trails.
well, right, but the Scrub Oak Scramblers, which is the local snowmobile club, they may have agreements with landowners to have trails that they maintain or whatever, and they may not be
A state
like
corridor
part of the
trail.
state network.
But their agreement still is, you know, requires landowner permission and landowner consent.
I mean, I tend to go with Mike because I've seen in the spring especially, when there's nothing but mud, the snowmobiles grinding stuff up all over the place. And once the damage is done, the damage is done. It's not like you're gonna say, well, you know, it'll grow back. I mean, tree roots are exposed. I just think that there's not enough monitoring to control that kind of thing.
Yes.
So aren't we kind of thinking that are these trails grandfathered or are they registered? I mean, if I cross your land every day to go to school and then I grow up in the land trades property and they tell me I can't go to school that way anymore. That's what the owner says.
Well, really, it's an issue that Upper Saco really has to deal with.
Yeah, as the landowner, it's
Right.
incumbent upon them, and one of their things that, the reason they exist is to protect, protect land, protect the ecological resources on it, that's what they do, that's part of the reason they're buying this. The easement document is just, we're documenting existing trails as they are right now, so that, and I believe I remember in the easement document that if there is significant recreational infrastructure improvements, more trails than that, the town has some say, and there's a process whereby the town gets to have say in improvements. So this is just documenting what's there now, I
Right.
guess.
Okay.
Because in the easement, correct me if I'm wrong, but you already hashed out that you were okay with snowmobile trail on the
Right.
existing ones on the property.
Right.
So I guess the only question would be, do you disagree with the layout as shown on the map of the existing trails as they are now?
Yes.
But
I was, when I approved and voted yes on that, it was for the Corridor 19 Railroad Track Snowmobile Trail that's been there forever, has been known as a known trail.
Yeah.
That one, it's been there, it's railroad tracks, yes. But outside of that,
But that one's not on this property.
the railroad tracks?
Yeah, the tracks are owned by the
Yeah,
state.
The state.
Bureau of Rail and
Yeah,
Trails or
right, but they-
DNCR or whoever it is
but
now.
that was my understanding
So,
too.
yeah, I mean, that's a deeded.
Right.
Well,
tracks going
there's
through
an
there, but-
interesting change in the L-chip language, 311. And if you remember, they wanted to add mountain bikes, use of mountain bikes, which we objected to. And the way we dealt with it was that they would designate trails. So the way they dealt with it was, they have the right to allow non-motorized, non-electrical bikes on existing roads, which is, I guess, okay. And so I think they've backed off the desire to have mountain bikes on them. So I think it's productive that we had that one issue hanging out there, and so I think that's good.
Just a thought I had is, would it be worth inviting a representative from the land trust to, either Linda or someone else, to your meeting with the lawyer, so that if you have questions or concerns or need clarifications, potentially it could be, that process could be streamlined?
Okay, well, we'll bring it up at the non-meeting.
Well, that's what I mean, inviting them to the non-meeting.
Yeah.
Ralph, did you say this, Upper Saco is recommending this?
Yes, the non-motorized, non-electrical bicycles on roads only, not trails.
What is a road?
Mountain bikers don't wanna ride on that stuff. I mean, somebody might just ride their bicycle out to get somewhere, but real live mountain bikers don't wanna ride on a flat sand.
Right, they
trail.
wanna go on these trails, basically.
They wanna go on
rough.
Single track, like little
Yeah.
twisty
Yeah,
turny.
so
bike.
basically, I think they've done some creativity there, but in terms of, I think it's okay, because it avoids,
I mean, I'm not a skidooer, I'm not an ATVer. Some people think I'm crazy because I run marathons. But this is recreation land that we're taking all of our money to acquire, to help acquire some land, and it just seems to me to say, well, we can't have bicycles, we can't have we can't have, I get some of these things create problems, but, historically, we've always allowed skidoos, so. And there are gonna be people that are unhappy with us because they can't ride their ATVs. And they've been maintaining those trails. So you're taking all their tax dollar, investing it into a piece of property, and now they're getting less use than they had before they put their money into it, so.
The issue was mountain bikes, having access to the property using any particular trail. And we had a discussion which said that that practice was destructive. And we had illustrations of various locales that mountain bikes have been running through. And so we made a decision at one particular meeting, I can't remember whether it was the last one or the one before, that we said we didn't want mountain bikes at all, essentially. And then we compromised on it to say that they could go on designated trails. And what I'm pointing out to you is that this is their response to our position, which gave them the ability to do that only if the trail was designated as accessible to the mountain bikes. So this is my suggestion, it's the way they've solved it, okay? So, and I'm okay with the way they solved it. So, but
It's recreation land and you gotta let people get out on it.
And let people recreate.
If they wanted
Well-
more, the recreation that they had before, they could have bought it.
Well, we need to come to a decision on that particular issue, how we want to address
So,
it.
just for clarification, they're saying that you can mountain bike but only on roads
Right,
or designated trails. Are
right.
the designated trails the same as the snowmobile trails?
I would assume.
How do you
So-
define a road?
And, right, and what road is there? I don't think there's any road there to start with.
Right. What I'm saying is, it's an inartful adjustment. I didn't dream up this thing, but I'm calling it to your attention,
Right.
that we should have a conversation relating to this as to what our position is.
Well, right, and all of these points came from our attorney, which that conversation will be had next week.
Right. All right, so I think we've got a bunch of issues to talk about, maybe minor ones, they aren't significant. But I guess we've got, essentially, I believe we were very successful in the negotiations. In terms of, there's no subdivision, there's no petitioning off or selling off bits and pieces of the property and all those kinds of things. So I think we've made some major progress. And it has been difficult because Upper Saco has not been cooperative on timing and everything else. This is something that I personally just was upset with, the fact that we had long delays, extremely long delays in communications. And so hopefully everything works out. So our next discussion will be on Tuesday, 4:30.
Are we gonna invite somebody from Opera Saco to that?
It would be my
No.
I think it makes sense.
getting someone there,
I mean, we're this close to the end
if
line.
they can clarify something that you have a question on without then ending your meeting, sending some sort of correspondence to them, waiting for it to come back, and then you not being in meeting.
All right,
I'm-
a conversation with Cordell is in order as to the format. I viewed it as a session where we could be very blunt about issues. And maybe there aren't a lot of them at this particular point.
Well, I mean, even if, I mean, we could have it to the point of, you know, we could ask he or she to just step outside for a few minutes, we have a conversation with the attorney without them
Okay.
present. I just think, I'm agreeing with Tim that we're this close to the end, trying to wrap this all up, it would make sense that if we came up with a question, it would.
If it was something that they could just unilaterally answer, the person that was there, say, oh, you know, that's what this means, or that's what we're thinking, or we'd be comfortable changing this sentence to state this, rather than you leaving your meeting,
Okay.
sending correspondence, getting something back.
It's
I
gonna
mean, I'm
save
not
us
gonna be there, I'm just
potentially a
throwing
couple
it out
weeks.
there.
Well, I'll deal with Cordell on whether or not the format is
Yep.
with just his representation of us, or would he be willing to welcome Upper Saco to attend? So I'll verify whether that's possible or reasonable, okay?
Excuse me, Saco could zoom in and we could turn them off when we don't want them to.
No, there's too many, Zoom's not a good idea, this is a big deal, they can come right here in the flesh.
All right, property commitments, I think we're in good shape with the property commitments.
Ralph, before we move off the easement, there are some, well, there's one thing I found that we need to change. Will we do that later, or should I bring it up now, or?
Bring it up.
Under the project history, it says in May 2022, the landowner, Chris Crowe, contacted Sean Bergeron, Madison resident and Madison Conservation Commission member. He wasn't a member. He has never been a member of the Conservation Commission. He and I had a discussion at the transfer station, and at the time I was the chair or co-chair, and then he and I and Saco River got together and we had several Zoom meetings with different organizations to see if anybody was really interested, and when we got somebody interested, that's when it moved forward.
All right,
But it's just that Sean wasn't a Conservation
All right.
Commission member.
so noted, so we'll suggest them correcting it. Thank you. All right. Presumably, hopefully I've dealt with all the anxieties that I've had over this past few weeks. All right, so property review, the only issue is, as a result of your recent work, maybe we'll need to modify that particular property description.
What was that, sorry?
This is, the work you're doing right now,
Yeah.
may modify the property description. I don't know whether it does or not.
Oh, the baseline documentation?
No, this is, the cutting that you're doing.
Oh,
Yeah, he's already gonna update the plan for that parcel.
oh, okay, sorry, I didn't realize we'd moved topics.
We've moved on. Okay, so that's the only,
Yeah,
if there is a modification, I'd like to see it, because we have, I think every one of them is done.
Right, we've already talked about this, I think Tim referenced, we may be 2 or 3 years ahead with this cut that we're doing this year because of the.
Yeah, well, it was within the time frame. The window in the 2015 or 16 management plan, I think it gave a window of like 24 to 28 or something, 25 to 28. We're right there within the window where we recommended doing more or less what we're doing now. We just decided that because there was the dead oak to capture, that now was the time to do it.
Okay.
But we haven't strayed from the overall management strategy that we're using in that stand. You know, the description of what we're doing is very, very similar. You know, you've modified the selection process based on the mortality, but the overall silvicultural regime has not changed much at all.
Okay, we'll take a look at it and see what they need to make it. Maybe the changes are gonna be very minor, if any.
I think probably it would be, you know, we have, when I came to you with the written proposal explaining what we were doing and why we were doing it, that could be just stapled to the plan as an addendum. And, you know, we're only really a few years away from doing a lot of updates, like a 10, 12-year update to the management plans that we did. And those will cover, you know, what's happened on each property that we've done stuff on, an explanation of what occurred, the results from it, and that. So I think that the documentation that I came to the commission with when we proposed the harvest would be enough of an addendum to the plan.
Okay, good.
It has a map in it showing, you know, what we're doing and where. It has explanations as to why and how it fits into the rest of it.
Good, all right. That's good. No new business?
Can I actually have some new business.
Oh, you do?
If I can.
Sure.
It just came this week, so. If I may, Watershed Management Committee, are you on that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know if everybody knows, we have the Watershed Management Committee, I'm on it, Ralph's on it. I'm on it because of the DPW director, Ralph's on it as a representative of the Conservation Commissioner. We got a $100,000 grant from DES to be on it, so we had our initial committee meeting, and I know Ralph was there, to put together an RFP to hire a company to do the, we had a Zoom meeting that was, to hire a company to do the environmental company. During that meeting with DES that was running that meeting, it was brought up if there's any issues that we wanted to address as the Watershed Management Committee, and there was several things brought up. One of them was the lead mine, if you remember it,
Yes.
and the way I remember it was that DES recommended that we don't, as far as the Watershed Management Committee, we don't get involved in that. That's opening up a Pandora's box or can of worms that we didn't want to get into as the Watershed Management Committee. This was a couple months ago, at least 2 months ago. Since then, we have hired a company, environmental company, to
You're right, the report.
write the report. They've been going around recently, obviously, and we had our first meeting with them 2 weeks ago or last week, a Zoom meeting. Were you at that?
I was at the meeting with them, yes.
Yeah, okay. So, and then they asked us if there's anything that the committee wanted to address that wasn't in the RFP, and it was brought up again by somebody who wasn't at that first meeting, says, yes, I would like to investigate the lead mine and the issues there. And I didn't say anything, like we were told by DES not to open that can of worms, but there was a gentleman there who I don't know who he was, that's on the committee, that brought that up, and he said he was a scientist and geologist and retired, and that was his forte, and he'd done those investigations, so they decided that we should look into that. I didn't think it was a good idea. I didn't say anything, whatever. And but then he started talking about all the lead and mercury and stuff that's putting out, and that may be, and I know from our last meeting, I want to get more information about what's going on down there and before we get into it. And just seemed like we were kind of doubling our efforts, having this committee look at it. And then recently, within the last week, after the company, and I'm not going to say, I don't even know these people's names, but they came out, and after they went and looked at it and looked at this data that this person has, said that we were talking about it, because she went riding around with me yesterday or the day before yesterday on our roads in the watershed. It said that she would not eat the fish in Silver Lake because of the lead and mercury in them. And that was really concerning to me, that two scientists, people that say they're scientists, one of them at least is, that would say that to me, and that, and then we got DES saying to tell us not to worry about it, and we're waiting for all this information. But I think a lot of people are eating the fish in Silver Lake,
Right.
and catching fish, and I really think it's an issue that we need to address, or somebody needs to address it. If they're saying this, I want to know if it's true or not. And if it's not true, I wish they'd stop saying that, or do, going around, because that kind of haired me up a little bit when, I got kids and grandkids here that eat fish out of Silver Lake, and I eat fish out of Silver Lake. And
Who said that?
when you got scientists telling me that I wouldn't eat the fish out of Silver Lake based on science,
Right.
from whom?
The issue, I believe, is the price tag. And
Well, there's a big price tag on my kids.
I know.
And my
but
health. I don't give a shit
I've
about the
given
price
you
tag.
my opinion of the background as to why DES suggested not to include it. And that was, it was $100,000, and they didn't want it to be $200,000. So they bracketed the scope and limited the scope as a result of the dollar value. And essentially, that's why it is the way it is. So if we deal with this, it's going to be something outside of the scope of the agreement and the data and the process, the report and everything else. So.
Right, but just as a conservation commission, I think Josh has put up a valid concern.
I agree with that.
No, I mean, I'd be willing to reach out to Alex Lopushansky at Fish and Game and ask if there's any type of program through their biologists that we could have fishermen, donate a portion of their catch to be tested, so we could verify whether this is true or not.
I mean, this gentleman made a statement that he was a scientist and he's done testing on fish, and so I don't know this guy. I
Well,
don't know, and they're very
one
high in
possi-
mercury and lead. When somebody
one-
says that, I mean, that's,
One possibility is that we would deal with the people that are doing the evaluation and ask for their position on the lack of information relating to the lead issue, the lead mine issue. And then we could get into a situation with what's the added scope to make a determination on this. And
Well, right, but I'm talking about just independent, forget about the watershed study.
yeah.
What
Okay.
steps as a conservation commission could we take? Now, I'm not saying we get into any money, but just ask some questions. Fish and Game is the place to start. They
All
have
right.
biologists on staff.
All right,
What kind of information can they provide for us and assistance to identify whether we got a problem or not?
Does, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I just had a question. Do you know how, not being a scientist, how the how they made the leap from the lead to the mercury? There's,
I have no, I don't, and
Or they
I know
just
you
like-
weren't here at the last meeting, and it was a non-public meeting without getting into it
Yeah.
too much. I mean, I had expressed, I wanna know, you know, it seemed like they're talking all this money, and it was, I don't know, it was an anonymous, or complaint made to DES about the tailing at the lead mine, and, you know, and I've heard about it for years, obviously, but, and then, however that came about, and I, okay, well, I understand there's a problem, and people say there's a problem, but I want to understand the problem. What is, you know, obviously you shouldn't breathe lead or you shouldn't take in mercury and all that stuff, but what does it do? And I guess Ralph said it the best, like, you know, we get all haired up about PFAS and all that. It's like, but how many people has it killed, and what does it do to you? Or, you know, like, what are the dangers, what are the issues? And I just want to hear that from a scientist or DES or whatever, like, what is this lead and mercury doing, and what if we eat the fish? You know, and I have people who say they're scientists telling me in the last month or last week on one case saying they're super high in Silver Lake and I wouldn't eat the fish in there. Well, if you wouldn't eat the fish, why would I eat the fish?
So
Well,
I would say that, to follow up to that, I took a class with the biologist from New Hampshire Fish and Game last year, a year ago this month actually, and asked her if we had started testing any of our fish and game, because I don't know if you're aware of what's going on in Aroostook County. You can't garden, you can't hunt, you can, but you can't eat anything. Turkey, deer, all off, because Fish and Game did all the testing for the PFAS and stuff, and it's off limits in 22 to 27 towns in Aroostook County. So I asked her if we had started testing anything here.
In Aroostook County?
Aroostook County
Oh,
up in northern Maine, and it's happened to be one of my favorite places. So, you know, but she said that there is no program as of yet in New Hampshire testing that, but I would bet that would be the first place, like Mike says, to start. They have their own biologists. You just bring them. I would imagine with a phone call, it's a matter of getting the product there, and they can just test it, and then we would know. And I would want to see if they're saying that, somebody must have it on paper,
Exactly.
and I would want to see that, you know.
Go ahead.
If you haven't already, I would suggest that you make reference to the DES and EPA. They have a slew of information. There's been lots of testing. It's public knowledge. And I would suggest maybe the owner's council could help answer some of your questions, as she has mine. And
Okay.
that's another issue, but there's data there to be had.
So, besides Fish and Game, maybe can we contact, and I'll do it, or contact
DES has lots
DES
of
to
testing.
get that information?
It's all on one stop.
Another thought would be, Green Mountain Conservation Group has had a lot of water quality testing. I mean, they gave us the maps out for the towns there, and they've continued to do water quality testing over time. I don't know if what they're testing for, you know, if lead and mercury and that sort of
it's
stuff.
not in it.
No.
I did the water testing for a number of years.
Okay.
And the issue is road salt and all the conductivity, all sorts of things they deal with.
Turbidity.
And they don't test for what we're looking for. And Silver Lake Slam apparently does the same thing, water testing over a very large number of years, like 20 years. And I don't believe there is any test that they do that says this is the content of foreign materials. So it would be something that, if we were able to communicate with the right person at DES, it would be something that they would have to do a different protocol than what is normal. So I think that's.
You reach out to DES, I'll reach out to Fish and Game and see. I think you have a very valid concern, and it's, I mean, hell, the state invests money by stocking fish into that lake, encouraging people to fish and take fish and stuff, so I think it's an important question. I'll reach out to Fish and Game, you get what you can from DES, and
Okay.
see you next
Very good.
Tuesday.
Maine has guidelines on how many fish you really should eat a month from their waters because of the dioxin levels from the paper mills. And so I think right when you get a fishing license in Maine, it says you shouldn't eat more than 2 fish a month out of any water body in Maine, and then there's something came through to the schools years ago that said that no children under 12 should eat tuna, and that you should only eat 1 can of tuna a month as an adult because of what's in tuna fish now. So people are starting to pay attention, but I think this was my point last time too, that I think for the town safety, we just need to know what's going on with that. And there's 2 separate issues here. There's the Goodwin
This was 50.
piece of it, and then there's the watershed management piece. They are intersecting, but they're 2 totally separate things.
Did any of the people you spoke with mention the packaging plant?
The what?
The packaging plant?
No, they haven't, I know that was brought up at that initial meeting with DES, and they said that that's another can of worms that we didn't wanna open up.
I've heard that too, but with
The
nothing on
Chicks-
paper.
No,
Oh.
the old Chicks
Oh.
Mill
Mhm.
place. Those 2 things, and they said we really wanted to focus on other things.
And yet this is called a pristine lake.
Well, that was another point. They kept saying, "Oh, this is one of the cleanest lakes in the state," and then in the next sentence they tell me, "I wouldn't eat the fish in there."
But those aren't they're testing, that's not what they're
What?
testing for. When they look at the water, you know, it's different what settles in the animals.
And I take it in my, are we being extorted,
Yeah.
by, they're saying whatever suits their purposes to get money out of us, or I don't know.
You don't know who the scientist, the environmental outfit was?
Yeah, I do.
GZA?
No, FBE.
FBE.
FD.
FDE.
FD is the.
Frank Baum.
Huh?
They're out of.
FB.
I didn't bring all the paperwork and
And when you said the RFP, what would that,
request for proposal.
Thank you.
When we did a request for.
I figure I should know, but I couldn't come up with it.
Was that all your new business?
That was all my new business. I just had to get that off my chest.
All right.
You're making it late for dinner.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Before we go on, is there anything else for me, or?
I think you're done.
All right, very good.
Just don't
I'll
eat the
get you
fish.
something on letterhead so that you can, talking about the easement monitoring, procedures, timing, that sort of thing. So you can just put it in the file and be like, here's the town's plan.
Okay. Very
All
good,
right.
thank you.
If you're gonna eat the fish in Cook's Pond or Silver Lake, drink a lot of Miller High Life.
Thank you.
Take care.
The
Thanks, Tim.
solution to pollution is dilution.
That is the old saying.
But,
Okay.
but what will it do to the tax base?
Well, that's another thing. Another thing I thought of, the values on the Silver Lake, if they said you can't eat the fish or it's polluted, does that play a factor in this, why it's being,
On the plus side, I think we would see a lot more dead fish.
I would think so.
Poisonous to
but-
them too.
And a lot more people
I
dying
think
from
I've
mercury.
seen 1 or 2
And people
in
just
20
getting
years.
dumber and dumber, and it seems to be working.
Yeah.
Okay, Nicole, I'm gonna put you on the spot. You need to report something.
What about the loop?
I have nothing, cause I haven't done my yin and yang after I bring this back, and then I go back and see you guys.
All right. Okay.
She's got the politician stuff down.
Oh, this is,
Perfect.
And we met last night, I signed, 2 lot mergers, one for Pomeroy at long last, I don't know how much that would cost us. And then there was a lot in Edelweiss that, and a butter bought from, Edelweiss. So those 2 lots merged. And then the only other thing we really did is work on trying to figure out which direction we're going on the master plan. So,
okay.
but
All
that's
right.
about it, right?
Hmm. Well, I didn't say for the planning board.
Oh, you didn't say that.
All right, in terms of the budget, you have that in front of you, and you have the proposed. And if you're looking at the expended, we had a little less spent on supplies, a little more spent on home week, old home
Right,
week.
we were over, we knew we were gonna be.
Water testing was the amount, and we're paying it currently, so that there's a request for payment on that, so we will have paid the 1815, so that will be expended this year, so effectively, we're in really good position this year with the actuals, we're okay. So we need to look at what changes.
We haven't joined the New Hampshire Conservation Commission because there's still $300 sitting there for membership. And that would go to the New Hampshire.
Right.
So I think we get a lot of good information from them, and I think we should continue our membership.
Do we?
I've never dealt since I've been here, I didn't know anything about it. So,
Oh,
I think last time we asked that question, it seemed like the bill came the next month, so maybe it's just a
no,
little.
I think we pay it, that's right, we do pay it, yeah, it comes
Yeah.
in, that's right, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're losing me, it's been a long day.
Okay.
Very long
Are
day.
we planning the expenditure
What-
of quality testing?
Yes, I have it, we're gonna make a motion tonight, I have it right here.
Okay.
I just got the bill yesterday.
Do we need postage on there? I mean, we used to be that we got our things mailed to us, and now we
I
don't.
don't really have any postage for you, I mean.
I know,
not
that's
like-
why I didn't know if we should.
Not like the zoning board, thousands of
Right.
dollars.
But with the price of postage, having $50 on that line is a good safety if you needed to,
Right, mail
True.
some.
if you needed to do something.
What about a legal line? Who's
They don't,
paying for Cordell?
because we did a
Well,
warrant
we did-
article
Oh,
for
We,
mine.
we withdrew money from the,
Capital reserve.
one of the funds we were able to withdraw money from to pay.
$5,000, right, last year at town meeting, so.
Yeah, that's,
I don't know if we'll be over. I don't know, my life with stuff right now is
Okay.
over.
I would suggest, are we talking about the
Yes,
proposed
because I have to
budget?
get this
Right.
back to Linda.
I think, and, doesn't sound like a lot, but I'd bump that old home week line up to,
$600.
Yeah, because. it's
well,
the
at least
animal.
600, that would cover, but that program is a hit, it's very well attended. If we had, I don't know, if we had more money, could we get a better program? Like, is
the
there,
animal show might.
well, are there levels to what she'll bring? Is it based on money, I guess is what I'm getting at. For a little bit more money, do we get a little bit better presentation? Because it's very well attended,
Yeah,
the kids love it.
we're at I think there's 3 levels. We're at the middle level, we have been all the time. The lower level, a little less money, shorter program, fewer animals. And I've never looked at what the extreme was, because we've always sat in the middle, 1 hour with 7 animals. And it was over $500 this year. We got approval, but I know I'm not sure about.
Right, it's bottom line budgeting, you
Yeah.
went over by $28,
Yeah.
and that's not,
You didn't expect
Not
that.
the end.
that's why you have $50 in the postage that you don't spend on postage, you can cover that
Yeah.
$28.
I can just don't know that next year it'll go up another I think it's almost like, I have to look at the past ones, but $75 a year is
Well, I think,
what it's been costing.
Next
Up
year
it to
we're gonna sell
750.
water and-
I was
Yeah,
thinking-
that's-
We're gonna sell
I was
water
thinking
and things next
750.
year.
let's put seven, I,
700?
I'd make a motion, we put 750 in that
Oh.
line.
I'll second that.
I'll second it, all right, I agree.
Okay.
I mean, we don't need a motion, but I
We
just
don't
did
need a
it that
motion.
way.
No, we don't even need a motion. We're just doing the budget.
Okay.
700?
750.
Sorry.
Is administration enough?
Any other
Yeah,
changes?
Well,
I
it's-
think,
We're only, 75% through the year. So
I think everything is-
82%, so do we need to increase that for next
I
year?
make I
Well,
recommend that we leave
Mike's
all the
talking
other
about-
numbers
Kate,
the
is
same.
administration you?
That's what Mike's
Yeah.
just talking about, administration, because we're
I
at.
mean, the end, we're now
That's
in
what I'm saying.
October, we're 75% through the year, and we're 82% through the budget,
Right.
so.
Bring it up to 2,000.
We just don't pay her.
I get paid, but it comes out of,
Okay, you wanna bring it up to $400?
Let's bring it up to 2,000.
This is administration.
But who, I'm just curious, who decides when you get a raise, Kate?
Linda.
Linda?
Yeah, I was gonna say, are we throwing darts at the wall by just saying go up $400? Do we have a way to figure a better solid number,
I mean,
whether it's
we're
2,400,
almost,
25, 2,000?
No, I know she's not getting a raise this year. I'm just kidding.
I've been working my butt off,
All
but
right.
anyway.
Because we used to
All right,
give
how about-
people raises.
How about some, I don't like it being that the haircuts, if they come around and they've been, like, we wanted to digitize
That's
the
gonna take
reports.
some time, yeah.
And it was like, you don't need to do that. And so if we would have jumped this up to $2,000, it's, I would recommend 1,800. Gives us the ability to deal with some modest changes,
Administration.
administrative.
Are we gonna try to
From
digitize this
But-
year, or is that a separate
what
warrant
is it-
article?
What is in this line?
Which
It's,
line?
I know administration is you, but it's not your salary is
No,
somewhere else.
I put down I have to keep track of the hours I spend to prepare all this stuff and do everything. So every 2 weeks on my timesheet, I put whether I've attended a meeting an hour, or whether I've spent 2 hours, or
Okay.
sometimes 3
Okay.
hours negotiating with the easement back and forth with all the attorneys and everybody involved. I mean, there's a lot going on in the background that nobody sees that I do,
Talking to Ralph.
so. Talking to Ralph, yes,
That's why
lately daily.
I fear it's 2,000 even enough.
I don't think so either,
I'm
but
pretty, I
Maybe
mean,
our
I'm not,
postage
you
line.
good with that 2,000?
I'm not, I mean, I'm pretty.
Okay, you wanna put two grand, okay.
Like you said, we're at 82% of the year, we're at 75% of the year, and we've expended 82% of the budget, we got,
I mean, what's another 18% of that number?
And what, are we gonna try to get it digitized this year, or how are we gonna do that?
Well,
Yes.
It's approximately $287, Mike.
Right. So,
It's right there in front, yeah.
oh,
Yeah, so it's not,
Not far enough.
the 1,600 is not that far out of line. So if we said 1,800, I think
yeah, but I mean, we
that is
have
sufficient.
25% of the year still to go with 18% of the budget, so.
All right, so
I mean,
what's the
that's-
number?
That's
I don't know now.
7%.
I know, I raised it to
2,000.
I think it should be
2,000.
2,000.
Yep.
All right, everybody says 2,000,
All right, we'll
okay,
leave it there.
2,000.
If it doesn't get used, it doesn't get
Administration.
used, you know what I mean? I mean, it can.
I can remember back when I started on this committee, that the only thing we had was the membership for conservation, to the state conservation. That was a long time ago.
Okay,
Mark, that's a long time ago, yes. The AG.
Right, but if you boil it right down, what is in that budget right there that isn't administrative? The membership you're talking about?
Yeah.
And the program at Old Home Week, the rest of it is administrative.
Yep.
The cost of government.
okay,
It's true.
2,750, is everything else staying the same? All the other, we flatlining,
Whole home week goes up.
Old Home Week goes up to $750.
Right.
But the other items, we're just gonna leave, water quality testing, we're gonna vote on that in just a minute, but we're gonna leave that.
Have we heard that they're going up, or are they?
They haven't said,
Okay.
I just got their letter, yesterday, the
In,
30th.
in the supplies, Kate, not that, I mean, I guess it looks like we're okay, but are we gonna be okay?
If we digitize, I don't know.
There's no way it would be okay if we digitize, because didn't we get some quotes on that a couple of
Right,
years ago?
we did.
I'm talking about the rest of this year,
Oh, yeah.
on the
I'm
supplies
not-
line.
I don't.
We're not gonna do it this year.
I really haven't spent much, a lot of that was like, I bought the box or Old Home Week, I reimbursed myself, things like that stuff.
Okay, so,
No,
all right.
I think we're fine there. I don't see any expense.
The letter that you get, we usually put into the,
Yep.
town report, it wasn't in there last year, I don't
It
think.
was. Oh, yeah,
Oh, I didn't see it.
yep. Yep.
so what are we talking about, a total increase of $1,150?
So,
Which is like 85% of the budget, but,
Well, we didn't increase any other lines, just the administration and the Old Home Week. And we're gonna leave everything else
right,
the
but it's
same.
$1,125,
That.
if I did the math right.
9,
400, no, 400 plus 250, $650 of an
There was-
increase.
my recollection is, the reason why we don't have it on the 2025 budget digitizing is because it was knocked, the budget committee knocked it off.
right,
um,
we did.
For the 2025. There was some number, like it was approximately $500 or something like that. That was the number. So we could
Well,
take
why
a
don't-
chance and
Well,
use
why don't
it.
we, because we did have lively conversation last night about potentially rekindling a relationship with the North Country Council. That would be something potentially, if we go down that road on the master plan, that's a resource that they could help us with,
Yeah.
potentially.
Yes. Maybe they have that machine that'll do it,
Right.
so. Somebody's
All right,
got it, but
So how do we deal with that? I don't wanna,
we wait till the
We're gonna know something
next month.
next month going forward, whether we're gonna go forward with North Country Council or not. And then I would suggest that we put together a small number as a budget figure to do the digitization that we plan to, but using them as a resource, we'll be able to, if we start up that relationship, we'll be able to get an estimate from them. Because we already do somewhere in our notes have the volumes that we were talking about, page-wise and so forth.
yes.
So we'd be able to give them that information and they could, in short time, shoot us back
Make the
a,
master plan pay for it, then you'll be able to click on the property reports in the master plan.
All right.
that's not a terrible idea. Link these reports to the master plan, that forces them to do the digitization.
In
It's not a
reality.
terrible
It's a
idea.
great idea. All right, so we'll postpone
Good job.
putting a number on that particular item.
So we wanna,
All right,
we don't need to do a motion to vote on this budget, right? This is good. We're good.
No.
okay.
But we do need to do a motion on this.
All right, so then we have Green Mountain, a check for
For me to pay it.
$1,815.
That's an invoice, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'll make a motion that we pay that invoice.
I'll second that.
all in favor? Yes.
Thank you.
I mean, honestly, could that go any other way? Were we not gonna pay it?
I know. I was gonna pay it anyway, next pay period, so.
All right, as far as the account balances, not gonna go through it, there's really no change.
This account's gonna increase, your land use change tax is gonna increase by $6,400 that we just got today from Tim, so that will increase a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, we mentioned that, we received the check, so there's gonna be an adjustment to this
In
next.
10 more years, we can compile all of the interest and buy a cup of coffee?
I don't
If
know.
we're careful.
Probably, they ought to,
Not knowing how much a cup of coffee 10 years from now.
well, if you deducted the postage on this, there's one account that I think would zero it out. Not quite. All right, so, all right, unless there's any other issues, make a motion to adjourn.
Hold on, let me turn
Just
it on.
bear in mind, Tuesday, 4:30, I'd like you all to review the document.
But before we adjourn, let's just make sure Kate doesn't have any other
Yeah.
administration.
Were we doing anything, Mark, about the email that you forwarded to me?
From,
That we've done in non-public, I don't know, do we need to do anything with that?
why don't, maybe we could do this Tuesday?
Okay.
All right.
But- And I will get a hold of Young
Okay.
again, because this,
I wouldn't put that in there.
your information is very interesting.
Okay.
Because it seems like there are two environmental outfits working on that thing and not, I don't know why we're not crossing information better than that. So,
Okey-dokey. So Ralph made a motion to
Oh.
adjourn.
Too many
I'll second it.
subcommittees.
I would think that we're gonna end up with it whether we want it or not.
All right, I have a motion outstanding and we keep
He
talking.
seconded it.
second.
You seconded, all right? All in favor? Yes.
Good night.
Thank you.
Gives me
Liza, don't leave. I wanted to ask you.
10 minutes to
You
get
just
to my next
adopted a
meeting.
dog.